Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today. In this session, we're going to rapidly break down the vital deadlines, funding opportunities, and system changes stemming from the June 30th, 2026 weekly update. If you're a community pharmacy contractor, well, you already know just how fast-paced the regulatory and operational landscape is right now. It's moving quickly. We've got a lot of ground to cover, and my main goal today is to make sure you walk away from this explainer with absolute clarity on exactly what your team needs to execute, starting literally today. All right, let's take a quick look at the agenda. First up, urgent deadlines you need to act on today. Then we'll move into July deadlines and vacancies, local training and roadshows, the new meningitis B service, and finally we'll wrap up with key system updates and changes. Okay, let's dive right into it. Section 1, urgent deadlines. These are the immediate actions required by close of play today. To give you a quick sense of where we're heading, here's your roadmap for the next few weeks. Everything kicks off today, June 30th, with your DSPTK and your NHS Profile Manager. Getting these out of the way acts as the gateway to a busy, but honestly entirely manageable July. From securing early vaccine supplies on July 6th, all the way to finalizing your CPAF by the 31st, pacing is everything here. But remember, it all hinges on getting today's tasks done first. So what exactly needs to happen by close of play today? Well, you've got two major priorities, the NHS Profile Manager and the Data Security and Protection Toolkit, or DSPTK. For the NHS Profile Manager, contractors absolutely must review and confirm their information. Why does this matter? Because it keeps your data accurate in the Urgent and Emergency Care Directory of Services. You literally need to log in and physically check that each section shows a new confirmed date. Simultaneously, your 2026 DSPTK submission is due. Community Pharmacy England has published updated guidance to help you through this, but guys, the clock is ticking. I actually want to pause here for a second and just emphasize exactly what the regulations state. It says, failure to complete the DSPTK within the deadline given may lead to further contractual sanctions. This isn't just some administrative tick box exercise. The DSPTK is a strict legal requirement under the 2013 regulations. If you haven't hit submit yet, the second this explainer is over, this needs to be your absolute top priority. No joke. Moving right along to Section 2, July deadlines and vacancies. Let's plan ahead for CPA, PQS, and local leadership. Okay, so opening tomorrow, July 1st, is the Community Pharmacy Assurance Framework, or CPAF, screening questionnaire. You're going to have exactly 1 month, until 11:59 p.m. on Friday, July 31st, to get this done via the MyS portal. It's just a 10-question screening process, but I really cannot stress enough that completing it is a mandatory terms of service requirement. If you're selected, the full questionnaire will follow later in October, but right now, your focus is just getting this initial screening handled in July. Now, for some really good news. £20 million. That is the massive value of the newly announced 26-27 Pharmacy Quality Scheme, or PQS. The full details are out, and the main takeaway for you right now is the aspiration payment. If you want to claim that aspiration payment, the window opens on July 13th and closes on July 28th, well ahead of the main declaration period in February 2027. Community Pharmacy England has already provided checklists and action plan templates, so definitely use them to make sure you capture your share of this funding. Beyond the funding and compliance side of things, July is also a big month for leadership. Community Pharmacy Avon and Wiltshire, CPAW, is seeking expressions of interest for 2 independent seats on their committee. This is an incredible chance to actually have a voice in local pharmacy strategy. Independent contractors, you need to check your NHS emails for the full details. Just remember, your expression of interest must be submitted to sarah.cpaw@gmail.com by 12 noon on Tuesday, July 7th. Section 3, Local Training and Roadshows. Let's look at the big opportunities coming up on July 7th. So, we actually have 2 fantastic events happening on the exact same evening. We've got the Swindon Stop Smoking Service Advisor Training running right alongside the Community Pharmacy England Southwest Roadshow in Exeter. Now, obviously, you can't be in 2 places at once, right? So this is one of those moments where your pharmacy team can divide and conquer to extract the maximum value for your business. Let's compare them real quick. The Swindon Stop Smoking training starts at 7 p.m. It is completely free, and it's hosted entirely online by the Swindon Borough Council. If you have staff wishing to deliver the new Stop Smoking PGD service that launched back in May, this training is absolutely required. Meanwhile, at 7:30 p.m. down in Exeter, the CPE Roadshow is a face-to-face, in-person event. This is a totally unique opportunity to sit down with the Community Pharmacy England executive leadership team. It's a forum designed specifically for you to ask questions, challenge their strategic thinking, and hold them to account. One is about clinical capability, the other is about strategic influence. Both are incredibly valuable. Oh, and while you're looking at team development, don't forget to utilize the new Virtual Outcomes training modules that cover the updated pharmacy contract.
All right, Section 4, the new Meningitis B service. We'll break down the registration and the funding.
Listen, this is a one-off, time-limited service, and the deadlines here are incredibly strict. The service officially launches on July 20th. Now, to be guaranteed your centrally supplied vaccine for that launch date, you must sign up by July 6th. You also have an absolute hard cutoff to register by 23:59 on July 20th. Because of the highly limited nature of this program, absolutely no registrations will be accepted after that minute. Even if there's a change of pharmacy ownership, it doesn't matter. If you want in, you have to act now.
And here is exactly why you're going to want in on this. The funding model is highly attractive. For every single vaccine you administer, you receive a standard £10.06 fee. But look at these bonuses. The moment you administer just one single vaccine, you immediately unlock a £300 initial setup bonus. And if your team hits the milestone of 100 or more vaccinations by the end of March 2027, you trigger another £400 bonus. That is up to £700 in combined bonuses on top of your standard administration fees. Plus, remember, the vaccines are centrally supplied, so you aren't carrying any of the stock risk or cost. It's just a brilliant opportunity for active pharmacies.
Almost there. Section 5, system updates and changes, focusing on MIA suspensions and the mandatory RAVS transition.
First up, there's been a slight change to how you report a temporary suspension of service on the Manage Your Service, or MYS portal. If you have an unexpected closure, yes, you still need to notify the commissioner immediately, implement your business continuity plan, and resume services as soon as practical. What's new is that when you log the suspension on MYS, there is now a free text box allowing you to provide specific context. So instead of just selecting a generic issue with the building dropdown, you can type in exactly what happened. For example, power cut due to fire in power line. It just adds a layer of clarity that helps everyone understand the situation better. Also, on an operational note, remember that updated guidance is now available for accessing free interpretation and translation services for your patients, so make sure your front counter staff are aware of that.
Finally, we really need to look ahead to September 1st, 2026. From that date onward, all community pharmacies in England must record all NHS vaccinations in RAVS, the Record of Vaccination Service. This is how you will trigger automatic payments from the NHS Business Services Authority. Now, if you're already using RAVS, great! Your administrator just needs to ensure flu and COVID-19 are added in the vaccines section. But if you are new to RAVS, you need to register a lead administrator immediately. In fact, for business continuity, it's highly recommended to set up 2 lead administrators per site, just so you aren't bottlenecked if someone happens to be out sick. Also, please note, RAVS is exclusively for NHS vaccines. It cannot be used to record your private vaccines. And that brings us to the end of today's explainer. We've covered a tremendous amount of ground, from grabbing a piece of that £20 million PQS fund, to structuring your team for the July 7th training, and maximizing the revenue on the new Meningitis B service. But before we sign off, I want to leave you with this provocative question. Is your pharmacy fully compliant today, and is your team actually ready for the RAVS transition this coming September? Do not let today's DSPTK and Profile Manager deadlines slip by. Use the insights from this session as a blueprint to prepare your team right now for the upcoming winter season. Thank you so much for joining me. Get those submissions in, and I will see you next time.